Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
63.
Hello.
Aloha.
Aloha. Hola.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Hola.
So welcome to session 3 of the Kevin Trudeau Elite Mastermind group session. So in today's session, we'll be discussing CD3 of Your Wish is Your Command.
And just a quick recap of CD2. So what Kevin Trudeau talked about was 4 basic concepts. So he went through the first 2, and then he introduced us to the next 2 basic concepts. And then he went through a very important concept, which was when the attitude's right, the facts don't count. And he illustrated what that meant through Aristotle and As's story, one of the richest men in the world. And that was really profound. And we had that discussion on CD2. So now CD3 will go through more about the basic concepts and the importance of the basic concepts, and of course the Shaolin monk story.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Oscar, for the Shaolin monk?
Yeah.
¿Qué tengo que decir?
Tienes que decir la historia del monje Shaolin en inglés.
Es que en inglés no me va a salir bien. Si quieres me traduces, Armand.
No. He's He's saying that I could translate, but I think it's going to take us too long. So
Me voy a alargar mucho, de verdad.
yeah, no, it's going to take him like too long. He's saying.
Yeah.
La digo, tú traduces. Vale, me haces el favor.
¿Sí?
Vale.
He's saying that I will translate. Okay, I will translate.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. So let's begin CD3.
So let's begin CD3. So he talked about a lot of how our goal is to get to the unconscious competence level, right? So it's the 4 steps the mind goes through.
So that's the 4th basic concept.
So that's the 4th
He
basic
expanded
concept.
on.
So this carries on into CD3. So the question to you guys is, how do we get to the unconscious competence level? There are 2 methods. What's the first method? Who would like to answer?
I'm not saying anything this week.
Yeah, okay.
You've got 30 minutes of me being quiet. Crack on.
Mario, I think you had your hand up.
So it's doing it repeatedly on the conscious competence level over and over again.
Yes,
And by observing other people who do it already.
that's
So-
it.
Spot on.
Spot
So-
on, Mario.
So what happens is when you do it over and over again, you're building new neural pathways in your brain.
Exactly.
So when you first learn information, neurons, the nerve cells in your brain, start to fire and wire. And that's what happens initially when you start to learn something new. And as you keep repeating it, like Mario said, over and over and over again, those neurons repeatedly fire and they repeatedly wire to the point that they become hardwired. And then you've formed a solid, hard neural pathway in your brain. Once you've done that, that's a new energy transmission that's happening between nerve cells. So you're emitting a new frequency out into the universe. Okay, so that's just a little bit of the neuroscience of it behind it.
So my next question to you guys is, what are other words and phrases that Kevin Trudeau uses to describe finally being at the unconscious competence level? So knowing that you got it. So what are other words that he said that describe this level?
Armand.
Good one.
Yeah.
What does it
Tell
mean
me.
to be at the unconscious competence level?
Yeah.
That really, yeah.
Oscar, did you understand?
A little bit.
¿Qué otras palabras hay para definir cuando llegas a inconscientemente competente?
¿Qué otras palabras hay?
¿Qué otras palabras usa Kevin para definir eso?
You got us there.
Yeah.
¿Qué otras palabras utiliza Kevin para definir competentemente inconsciente? Hostias.
Sí, yeah. I really don't. I mean, I think I really don't know the answer.
You probably do know that.
El golpe.
Me too.
The hit. Oscar is saying like the punch.
El golpe.
No, that's skipping ahead a little bit. You're getting too really eager here. That's good. But
We'll cover that.
we will cover that later on. It's very exciting. But it really means, being autopilot, integrating this level at the DNA
okay.
level. You're doing
Being
it.
autopilot, yeah.
It's a part of you. Right? You just
like
know
it,
it.
like you know your name. You know, that's how much you know it. That's the unconscious.
There's no in it, then there's no in it. No.
Yeah,
It's happening automatically. You just know it without even thinking about it. There's no more conscious competence with effort. It's just automatic. You just try to-
Yes, he's also quoting Leo Biscaglia, which is
Know not to do is not to know.
exactly, yeah.
yes.
So
I was
that's how
Neil
you know if you
Biscaglia.
know it. Yeah. How
For
you
1
doing?
year with all this information, I was Neil Biscaglia because
Yeah.
I knew everything but didn't apply anything. And
Neil
then,
Biscaglia.
all of a sudden I hear that Neil Biscaglia, and I was like, hang on. I know, I'm the perfect seminar attendee, as he says. The perfect one.
Jamie, I think we've all been there. Yes.
But we're only human. We're only human.
Yeah,
But but then when you start applying it, it really is it's the most powerful way to see it happen. And I think that's the little the change in everyone when you see it happening.
Yeah, and that's when you're being it rather than just knowing something. You're actually being that.
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
You're vibrating at different level.
Yes. Going up to the following up with what Mario said about the second method of which is observing other people do it. What's another short fun phrase that Kevin Trudeau used to describe this?
Just to say, there's a bit of background noise coming from some.
Oscar, creo que se oye como un pequeño sonido de fondo, ¿no?
Ah, sí.
Yeah, we're hearing, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's you. I don't know.
Children in the background.
Yeah.
Ah, sí, sí, está. Había niños por aquí. Espera, que me voy y me aparto.
Okay, now it's
You
perfect.
can mute
Yes.
if you're not
Excuse
when
me.
you're talking.
The sound
Yeah.
of the birds is perfect.
Okay.
Okay, now it's perfect.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So the question was, what was the fun short phrase that Kevin Trudeau used to describe observing people using the knowledge or observing someone else do it? And it involves an animal. Do you know what it is? It's very short and it's just kind of summarized it perfectly.
My God, this is getting tougher, huh?
Have you not done your homework, Armin?
What?
Involving an animal.
The clue is that the phrase involves an animal.
The name of an animal.
The name of an animal.
Yeah. So when you're observing somebody else do it, to get to that.
Like a sponge, but a sponge is not an animal. I'm gonna ask Oscar. Oscar, están diciendo que en una frase ¿qué animal se usa cuando estás observando a alguien? Nos están diciendo que hay un animal en la frase, como que estás absorbiendo mucha información.
Una esponja.
Sí, pero es un animal, no una esponja. Yeah, he said he answered the same answer as me.
Cuando está pero hay un animal que nombran.
Sí, ya.
Pues en español yo creo que no lo traducen así, ¿eh?
Can you repeat it once more time, Kashmir, the question?
Yeah, so so what was the fun short phrase that Kevin Trudeau used to describe observing people using the knowledge or observing someone else doing it at the unconscious competence level?
Monkey see, monkey do. Yes.
Joder, my God.
¿Cuál era? ¿Cuál era?
El mono mira, el mono observa, algo así. Mono mira, mono hace.
El mono hace lo que el mono ve.
Yeah.
El mono hace lo que el mono ve. Yes.
Okay. Monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
Es verdad.
Monkey do. That's it. Go on.
And okay, now we're moving on to track 2. Okay.
Congratulations, Mario.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes, Mario has a PhD on Jewish romanticism.
Muchos puntos. Yeah.
Slow down, Armin. Slow down, mate. Slow down.
So track 2, why do people fail? Why do people fail in what they're trying to do or create their own reality? What are the 4 reasons why people fail?
Well, number 1, they listen to the wrong people.
Number 2, they have a low teachability index.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
And number 3, they don't spend enough time in the conscious competence level.
And it's
to
not
really-
lack of knowledge.
Yes, it's not lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's not. They have a low teachability index.
And what's the fourth one?
I think Jamie said the fourth one. The third one is like the training balance scale. No, they are not
yeah,
right
yeah,
in the
yeah.
training balance scale.
You covered
That's
that.
it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
they concentrate too much on the how. Thank you, Armin. I didn't say that, but I thank you. I'll just
Jamie
pretend
said
I
the
did.
fourth one.
Jamie
Jamie said the third one about training balance.
third one.
Jamie said about they're not spending enough time at the conscious competence level. So
Can you go through them again? I just want to write them down. I know them, but I don't really know them. So I just do the four.
Good one.
So the first one was you listen to the wrong people.
Yeah.
The second one is
you have a low teachability,
index. It's not a lack of knowledge, it's actually having a low teachability index. The third
Yeah.
one is part of the training balance scale where you're focusing on the how too much.
Yeah.
And the fourth one is you haven't practiced at the conscious competence level.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oscar, están hablando de las 4 razones por las que la gente falla, que son los 4 fundamentos.
That's
So
so powerful. I knew all that, but
Yeah, so in
I
other
didn't know
words,
it.
what do those four things link to? They link to the four basic concepts. So in other words, why do people fail? Is because
they haven't
mastered the basics, the four basic concepts.
And I put this into the real world in my little life and asking my friends, and one of my friends is working full time, not happy, but he's a very talented Tyler and Grouting and all that. And he said that I said, well, why don't you do your dream and build your own business? He said, yeah, but how? First thing people say is, yeah, but how?
How?
And I'm like,
Right.
oh God, it's amazing, but it's so creepy. Not creepy, but it's amazing how real it gets, more and more real, and we're just at the bottom as well.
That's it. That's it.
So that's why there's also a fifth concept,
Yes,
which indicates mastering the basics. It's,
Yeah.
Master the four basics.
He goes on to saying that later on. Yeah.
Sorry.
That means you're
That's good.
understanding the
That's
information
good,
to
yeah.
remember that.
Integrating it, brilliant, Mario. I love it.
So the next. So what was I going to say?
The fertile environment.
Yeah. So why is it so hard for people to have like a high willingness to change? Why do
Because they've done the same thing for so long, and they got really strong embedded neural pathways, and they find it very hard to change, because it's even hard for everyone here, because it's I made up my own concept thinking it's a survival instinct. That's the way I treat it, where people are doing the same thing, not expecting different results, but just because of the neural pathways.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the Chinese definition of insanity that you were touching upon, which is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right?
Yeah. People who are trying to have different results and they're not willing to change.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say that as a basic, but it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's tying into that. Yes.
well, it's what Meena said. It's we have this well-developed, established neural pathways because we've done thought in a specific way for such a long time that it's very hard to develop new ones. And
That was a quote. That was nearly a quote, Mario. That was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I think the good thing about it is with neuroscience, what it shows is that there is such a thing as neuroplasticity, so that we can prune apart connections and we can form new ones in the brain. So literally you can change the structure of your brain through repetition, through conscious competence, until you get to the unconscious competence level. So, before, maybe many years ago, neuroplasticity was talked about before. So you felt like you're doomed, like this is it, this is my life, and there's nothing I can do to change things. But we know now that it is possible to change. No matter how hardwired you are, you can change. And I think once people grasp that, then their willingness to learn goes up, because they know that there's a way out. You're not stuck where you are. There is a way out.
And it's the people who maybe got fostered as children, or people who got really hard done by as kids, and they have this uncontrollable desire to change because they don't want, including myself in a selfish way. I got bullied as a child, and it's those little things where you focus on what you want then, and you start developing new neural pathways.
Absolutely. Your pain pushes you to greatness. So
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go through something painful in order to come out to really focus on what you want rather than what you don't want.
But most people, I find, just accept it.
Yes.
And that's it for 50 years. They just accept it. That's always fascinated me. The lack of sort of curiosity.
Yeah.
No, for some reason, the same as all of us, I think I know there's something more, but not really getting it. And then, you talk to even all my family, and they're all, they don't have no interest. I think they know everything.
Yeah.
You see it every day, don't you?
Yeah, it's when you're not curious and when you don't question things. That's when you just stop. You just think, everything's just as it is.
Then you're atrophying.
You're atrophying, yeah.
Going backwards. You're either growing or dying. There's no such thing as stagnation, of course.
We could growing beings, aren't we? We're growing beings.
Yes.
I'm going to translate a little bit to Oscar, if you don't mind.
No problem.
Oscar está hablando de por qué hay mucha gente que no cambia su forma de pensar y están hablando de la neuroplasticidad. ¿No? Que con la neuroplasticidad la gente puede cambiar, y ahora estaban hablando de por qué hay gente que se queda en el mismo sitio, ¿no? Y están hablando porque no tienen curiosidad o no quieren, que no quieren hacer nada nuevo.
No tienen motivación.
He's saying that no, they don't have a motivation, ¿no?
El clavo del culo no es lo suficientemente puntiagudo.
El culo. What does it
mean? He's saying that I don't know how to translate that, but he's saying that how do you say clavo? Like I don't know. It's very tough. Yeah, but the situation for many people is not too uncomfortable to take a decision to to step up.
I think people are afraid of being wrong, aren't they? They're afraid maybe it damages their ego or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fascinating.
Ego. Okay. So my next question was going to come from this. So the 4 basic concepts is the foundation of all this training that we're learning. But what's the saying that Kevin Trudeau uses to describe how far we can go in life, depending on how much we have mastered and grasped these 4 basic concepts? We have a very profound saying that just kind of summarized the level of how far we can go in life, depending on how much we've grasped these concepts. Do you know what that is?
You just want to know a little more. Wrong? Wrong?
No, wrong. Yeah. But it hasn't boosted your ego, Jamie.
Oh, but I think I got the wrong question there. I had a fixation on it.
That's probably another question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So what was the saying that Kevin Trudeau used to describe how far you can go in life, depending on how much you have mastered and grasped these basics?
Go as far as you can see, and when you get it, you see further.
No, that's not it, but that's a good one. That would probably be the answer to another question.
We're both wrong, Armin. We're both wrong. Mario, the pressure's on you, mate.
I'm thinking, yeah.
This is so tough. Oscar, están preguntando una frase que dice Kevin sobre cuán lejos puedes ir con estos fundamentos de que vayas como un paso a la vez o algo así. Hay una frase como que...
Llegarás tan lejos donde veas en el horizonte y cuando llegues allí...
No, esa es la que... No, that's the one I said. Es la que he dicho yo.
Right, Kashmir, one more time. Say the question once more.
Okay, so what is the saying that Kevin Trudeau uses to describe like how far you can go in life, depending on how much you have grasped these basics? So the more you grasp these basics, the more higher and further up you can go.
Okay. Oscar dice, la pregunta es, ¿cuán lejos puedes ir en función de cuánto has absorbido los básicos? ¿Cuánto lejos puedes ir en la vida? Hay una frase como que dice...
Sí, la tengo en la punta de la lengua. Espera.
You can only build as high up as your
foundation.
Your
foundation is deep.
Yeah.
Mario,
I'm going.
The question was kind of tough because it's kind of vague. You could have been...
¿Cuál era?
I'm very surprised that you...
La de solo puedes construir tan alto como sólidos sean tus fundamentos.
Yeah, you can only build as high up as your foundation is deep, right? Very good.
Yes. That's the part where he's where he said we wanted to know what is the real meat here, but he keeps on going back to the basics, and he said this is the real meat because we need to prepare the soil, you have to fertilize it in order for it to grow, and we need to have a good foundation, and no, you can only build as high up as your foundation deep. So with the basics, these are the things we need to focus on to make our foundation deep, so we can build from there on our lives. And that's
Mario, you're a pro,
point.
eh? You're a total pro, man.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I started laughing. I watched a documentary on the Burj Khalifa from Dubai, and the interviewer, the one who was doing the documentary, he said, "What was the hardest part?" And he said, "The foundation."
Foundation.
He said the foundation took like a year, and then the building took longer. Just the foundation.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
yes.
amazing.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
makes so much sense, because then obviously Kevin Trudeau says about the skyscraper, you can only
Yeah.
build a tall skyscraper building if the foundation, if the environment, the foundation is, deep and correct.
And even if you hit something right with all the information, if you haven't got a good foundation, you may hit something, but then it'll all collapse.
Yeah.
And this is why
Questions?
audio 3, he goes through the 4 basic concepts yet again.
Yes.
Like he has repeated this. He started it off in audio 1, then audio 2, and now again he repeats it all.
Yeah.
And he's repeating it because of this, because to build that foundation, and also to get to the unconscious competence level. You want to keep reminding yourself this. You can listen to something 100 times and still be learning.
That fascinates me,
Yeah.
and it is.
Yeah, it's like Oscar
Yes.
listening to these audios. How many times, Oscar?
668.
Oscar, ¿que ¿cuántas veces has escuchado los audios?
71. 71.
71
now,
times.
2
Yes,
times more
2
than
times.
last
I
time.
must be about 100 odd.
Se-
I've got to be.
71 CD2.
CD2.
I think me and Mario are on a pretty similar one. I don't know why Oscar are 70 odds.
I
Pretty
didn't
good.
count, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Jaime, you 140, no?
100 odd. It's got to like it's. I done quick maths in my head 2 weeks ago to try and think, and it was a minimum. It must be. Must
Dice que
be.
sí, un mínimo 100.
Wow.
Awesome. I can't believe how much I've taken from this already. Just writing down.
So the 4 basic concepts. Does anyone want to, or each of you want to summarize one of?
No idea.
Yeah, what are they?
Amy,
What are the 4 basic concepts?
Who'd you listen to?
That's the
Yes.
one.
Teachability index.
Or one.
training balance scale.
4 steps when learning new information.
That's it.
These are the 4 basics.
No, like-
Basics.
No,
That's your own name.
Instantaneous.
Fifth one. What is the 5th one?
What's the 5th one? That's right.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yo meets Mary.
Jesus, Charlie is so funny.
Yo meets Mary.
Oh, and to add to this, some people say, "Yeah, I know it," or "Yeah, I got it." This
I got it,
sounds
I
like
got it.
something
Got
I've
it, I know it.
before. What is the famous saying by Leo Biscaglia to show that you got too much ego when you think you know it all? What's
You
the
know-
famous saying?
To know or not to do is not to know.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Because I was it for about a year. When I was 19, about 19, 20, and he kept going on about the same thing. I was like, "What are you talking about? You know nothing." And he's like, and he said the phrase, and "You just told me you don't got it.
Yeah.
You just told me you've got not got a teachability index."
That's
Are you
it.
saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, sometimes we do it as a joke when we read a book and we're like,
Yeah,
I know
got
this stuff.
I don't need to read it.
I read it.
read it again.
Yeah,
I know
read
it. I know all this stuff.
Read it as a
You
joke.
read it. You read it. You read it. You read it.
Oh, I
Go
read
read the
it
book,
25 years ago.
Yeah. They've read the book. They've done it. It's the same book, Charlie. I done it to my dad. He read this. I done it to my dad. He read The Secret 5 years ago, and I said, "Dad, have you read The Secret? Like, I know the answer." I said, "Oh yeah, I read that. Exactly. I've read that." I said, "Oh, so you know?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, they've done a new copy now." I said, "Here's the new copy." I didn't read it for a month. I said, "Just read the first chapter. They've redone it. It's brilliant." Exactly. My dad said exactly to the point.
Oh, that's
But
amazing.
it was 4 weeks of anxiety because I was like, "Dad, have you read it?" I knew what he was going to say, my God, it's brilliant, isn't it? The new chapter. And I said, it's the same book, Dad.
You got to play with your
Tricked him.
Yeah, because it's so funny now, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I was at a barbecue and just now, and I said, I got to leave. They said, why? I thought, right, what do I say? I just said I got a Zoom call, just, you know, talking about snooker or something. Okay, you know, enjoy. But teachability index is high, but people, they're not ready for me to tell them, and they never will be. So it's difficult then to try and tell someone that, isn't it? Because it's that then what you're doing. No, people, not normal sort of people, like, you know.
Yeah. They wouldn't understand.
No. So Katie talks about how he was an apprentice in the brotherhood. You know, he had mentors and he still continues to learn. Well, at the CDs, in the CDs, he said, you know, he still continued to learn from mentors and practice this training. So he obviously got tons of observations because he was observing, you know, people at high levels doing this at the conscious competence level. But however, how can you get this type of apprenticeship from reading books? What is, you know, how does books work? Would anyone like to explain that?
Hey, he's in the jungle, isn't he?
The story of the jungle.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. Yeah, go on.
Charlie, brilliant.
Wants to give it a try?
Books are magic.
That's
Yes.
Books are powerful. Books allow our brains to observe. Go on, Mario.
To utilize our imagination. You know, I mean, by reading the words, I mean, if you read the words, you get images in your mind, and so you get so involved in the scene that you're living, experiencing what is happening, and while doing this, you observe what happens. So it's like, you know, they say that your mind cannot distinguish between reality and what you imagine. So it's like you're experiencing something as if it is true, and that's how you can learn from a book, for example. Even though
when he comes in, when somebody comes into the room and shouts your name, you're not there. You're in the jungle. That blew my mind, because it's happened to all of us, and it happened when I'm reading a book. And I remember reading Think and Grow Rich, and he was talking about the Mastermind, about Thomas Edison, about the foot of his bed, or he knew Thomas Edison. And I read it, and I remember where I was, what I was doing. I was out in the garden, and I started getting goosebumps, shiver. It was,
wow.
I've had it probably 10 times out of a book, where, you know, I'm there. He's next to me, and you're actually there. It's quite emotional. It's really, really mad until you've experienced it, where, oh my God, and I think it was something to do with, it was about when he woke up in the middle of the night, about trying to think of the Think and Grow Rich title. And I think Edison came to him at night. It must have been the spiritual higher level stuff, where he actually came to him, and, you know, I don't know. I don't know you, but you're there. You're in the book. You're not where you are physically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's like in
I think I'm guessing with this one.
Yeah, no, that's right. He actually, in Napoleon Hill, in The Law of Success in 16 Lessons, there was a part in that book. I read this book a while ago, so I've not read it again. But he was talking about like a table full of all these people like Edison and Henry Ford and everyone else. And as he explained the whole story, I had all these images in my mind. You know, I could see it. I could see it in there, and it was that. I mean, that just like
amazing.
Gave me goosebumps. You know.
Yeah, I have them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so books are so powerful. It's like, you know, it gets like Mario was saying as well, the imagination, it gets the imagination going. And as it gets imagination going, you are actually creating neural pathways in the brain. You know, you are firing and wiring neurons. Now, if you didn't read at all, this wouldn't be happening. You know, if you didn't exercise the faculty of imagination. Yeah, and it's such a powerful thing. And Neville Goddard talks about this all the time. He talks about imagination, see it in your mind, see the end result in your mind. And you create neural pathways faster through imagination than through physical observation with the eyes. So just imagine an
It's
example.
then watered down then by visualization as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So just
But that doesn't come on the audios, right? Like that part that you said.
it was.
Yeah,
It
Oh,
was
yeah.
one that,
imagination is
Yeah. Can I
You need
ask
to
Oscar?
listen to it again, Alvin.
Yeah, maybe. Oscar, están diciendo que creas los canales neuronales más rápido cuando lees que cuando observas a alguien haciendo algo, que se crean más fuerte o más rápido. I think Oscar has the audio off.
Mute.
That's okay. To be fair, it kept bouncing back to him, so he's listening anyway.
it's track 3. It's track 3 in the CD3.
So do you know what was the phrase I've heard Kevin say 100 times? What did you say when it's better to do it in your mind rather than physically see it with your eyes? It's better to do it through the imagination rather than see it with the physical eyes.
You create neural pathways faster through imagination than through physical observation with the eyes. Now, this is really powerful. So an example is, let's say you want to see a butterfly with your eyes. I want to see a butterfly today. I want to see a butterfly. You may be saying it, thinking it, but you're not imagining it. You know, you're just doing that. And the butterfly may appear, but it may appear like hours later or days later or even weeks later. But if you say right now, I want to see a butterfly in my imagination, I want to see it right now. It's instantaneous. You already have a vision of a butterfly in your imagination. And now you keep thinking that, and you're not basing this on your eyes, your observation. You just continue to imagine, visualize, imagine. You're able to see it much more instantaneously, faster, and you can create those neural pathways faster than waiting with your eyes to see a butterfly.
Does that then come into the? Is that then the attracts it into the world, into our physical world?
Yeah. So you did that just last week.
I did that, I took a photo and sent it. So I just did like a law of attraction practice, which is the easiest thing to manifest is butterflies. Actually, they always give.
Really, the easiest way to manifest something through law of attraction is butterflies.
Yeah, funnily enough, it's because I guess you don't have any resistance to it, and you just can believe it.
I'm gonna start seeing butterflies all week now. Thanks for this.
That's just an example.
Oh no.
That's very easy.
But I didn't know that. Oscar, están diciendo que lo más fácil de atraer con la ley de atracción son mariposas. Porque es como lo más fácil de creer. Tienes el audio, no se te oye nada. We can hear you.
Lo tenía quitado, ¿verdad?
Ya.
Lo tenía quitado. Sí, Abraham Hicks pone muchos ejemplos de mariposas.
He's saying that, Esther Hicks puts a lot of examples about butterflies.
Yeah, I think Kevin was doing this with Wayne Dyer for fun, like attracting butterflies. It was in some audio.
Yeah, that's right.
Funny, I didn't know that.
That's strange. Not strange. That's really cool.
Dile que como estoy en el campo, estoy creando ahora mismo una mariposa. Vamos a hacer un milagro.
He's saying that because he's in the, he's there. Oscar's gonna try to manifest some butterflies now.
Oh, great!
Show us, Oscar.
Mira. Now. Ha pasado por delante justo. Ahora va a venir.
He said that right now there was a butterfly.
Oh, that's instantaneous.
Al instante, ha sido al instante.
In just that moment.
Just that moment.
Powerful frequency. That's rapid. You must have very powerful focused thought.
But in this day and age, not many people read. Like, when I used to travel by train, everyone was on their phone doing things. But
playing Candy
very
Crush.
few people actually had a book and was reading. And maybe some people have a Kindle, but very few people actually looked like they were reading. So it's a shame that people are moving away from this. But in fact, leaders.
That's what the elite are doing.
Yeah. And the imagination, it's giving yourself some time to do that imagination practice, because otherwise our thoughts are all over the place during the day. When do we really focus and really spend that time to focus? So giving that time to use your imagination to create.
And leaders are always readers, and readers become leaders. Books are magical. And there's just one other point that I want to add is if you're watching TV all day long, right? You're not creating anything, yeah? The images,
Are provided
the
for you.
pictures, the sights, the sounds, it's being presented to you. You didn't have to create, you didn't have to imagine. If you watch TV all day long. So in other words, you're actually at effect of your environment.
And think of the
Because of
word
cognition I had.
television, TV, television, tell
Tells-
a vision. They've already told you a vision. is
Oh, that's
And it
nice.
tells lies to your vision. Tell lie vision. If you break up the
Yeah,
words,
tell
etymology.
lie vision.
Tells
The truth
lie
is normally right in front of you, isn't it?
Yep.
Also, think about the word program.
program.
Which
TV
program are you looking at?
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
There's so many clues.
And the more you watch television, and I mean,
And
I watch a
people are-
movie every once in a while, but the more you watch this stuff, and the more beliefs you get instilled with.
Yes. And when you,
I stayed in my father's house last night and went for a meal. It was lovely. A couple of beers and went to bed, woke up, and this morning he's put the news on. I was like, oh my God. And it put it on and I'm laughing. And my dad said, you okay? I went, yeah, fine, yeah, good. He said, you sure? I said, yeah, right. And they were talking about, it was Boris Johnson getting married. It was Chelsea winning against it. And then it was about, amazingly, this coronavirus or something. And
this thing.
and then my dad turned to his wife and started talking about it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel like an alien.
Wow.
Because like we all know that you're watching the news and
It's not
amazing.
I know,
Everything Trudeau said, everything.
Wow.
everything.
Happening,
Yeah.
So we're moving on to track 5 now. And the question to you guys is, these top secret books with these secrets of success, happiness, health, and wealth, right? And the power and the ability that you have to manifest and create your reality. Where can these books be found, guys?
Me and Mario know. I'll tell you that for free. Amen. Let's put the pressure on you.
Armin, do you want to have a go?
I know, but I'm gonna ask it to Oscar. Oscar, están preguntando que dónde están los libros de las sociedades secretas que habla Kevin. El audio, the audio, Oscar. We can hear you. No te podemos oír.
En las casas de los integrantes, no en los edificios de Holland y...
In the house of the members of the secret societies and not in the buildings of the Skull and Bones.
Exactly. I heard casa, and that means home, so I knew Oscar got the answer right because I know that word in Spanish.
They're not in the Skull and Bones building. They're not in the Illuminati building.
Yeah. Or in public libraries. They're in people's homes.
Where are the libraries?
Where the libraries? Yeah. Where are they? That's exactly what he said. So track 6 obviously takes us to the story of the Shaolin monk. He tells a very interesting background history of how the Shaolin monks came to develop the form of kung fu and all the warriors and how he sent them to the east, south, and north and west. He sent the monks out to these areas to get fighting styles because they were getting killed by these bandits, and they developed forms of fighting, and it was a kung fu style. So who would like to share the significance and the story of the Shaolin monk? Because Kevin Trudeau had the privilege of taking one of these monks to his home, and it had a most interesting encounter.
He taught him something, didn't he? I can't remember who it was now.
That will be part of the story, yes.
I can't remember.
Key principles of the story.
So the Shaolin monk story, you don't have to do it in give it in detail, but just the.
Who would like the pleasure of
gist of it.
sharing the story?
Shaolin monk.
I think this is the time for Oscar to share the story.
I think you'll know this
¿Qué,
one.
Armand?
Que creo que te toca contar la historia del monje.
Vale, ¿me traduces?
Okay, I can translate. Okay.
La hacemos rápido. Digo una frase y traduces, ¿vale? Y así hacemos más rápido.
He's saying that we're going to do it fast, so we can do it, Okay, let's do it.
Los monjes Shaolin, pues, decidieron salir al mundo y mostrar su arte.
Okay.
Y una de las primeras ciudades que fueron fue a Estados Unidos.
I think this already explained Kashmir, but well, the Shaolin monk, they went around. I mean, they gather and then they chose to go to the U.S. ¿no?
Sí, el monje principal, Shao Ming, decidió
Shao
no
Ming.
volver al templo.
Okay, Shao Ming, he refused to go back to the temple.
Y decidió enseñar pues lo que sabía fuera de su templo sin ninguna regla.
And he decided to share his knowledge outside of the temple, like the secrets.
Pues ese monje vivió conmigo durante unas semanas.
¿Contigo?
No, con Kevin.
Okay, that monk, he lived with him. I thought Oscar was saying with him. No, he lived with Kevin for a couple of days or weeks.
Yeah.
Y ese monje del que se hizo una serie que se llamaba Kung Fu, que se llamaba Kung Fu.
Yeah, this monk produced a TV series, no? Kung Fu, I think it was called, yeah.
Y Kevin decidió aprender de él y él le enseñó y para eso tenía un traductor de chino porque en esos momentos ese monje no sabía mucho inglés.
Then Kevin gathered with the Shaolin monk and by that time he had a translator to translate everything to Kevin.
Entonces, en la primera clase dijo que le quería enseñar a dar un puñetazo.
So in the first class, he was telling him to hit like a punch.
Kevin le dijo al traductor que él que quería aprender la carnecita, que le dijese que él ya sabía muchos artes marciales y que estaba muy experimentado.
Yeah, Kevin replied that he wanted to learn the real meat, no, because he knew all the basics. Yeah, the real meat.
El monje volvió a insistir que le quería enseñar a dar un puñetazo. Y Kevin volvió a decir que quería lo importante, que le enseñase las cosas secretas.
The monk replied back that he had to show like the punch, like one punch, but Kevin replied back again like he wanted to know the real meat.
Entonces el monje le dijo que estaba bien, que le quería enseñar a dar un puñetazo, pero que primero quería ver cuán fuerte podía dar un puñetazo.
So he was gonna show like one punch, but first he wanted Kevin to hit like one punch.
Entonces Kevin dijo que le iba a demostrar lo fuerte que era y que por supuesto que su puñetazo iba a ser mucho mejor de cualquier otro, incluso que el de él.
So Kevin said that, okay, I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna show you that my punch is better than anybody else out there.
Encendió una vela el monje y le dijo que diese el puñetazo y Kevin le preguntó qué tipo de puñetazo quería. O directamente dio un puñetazo Shaolin y paró a una pulgada de la vela en un perfecto puñetazo.
Okay, so yeah, basically then the Shaolin monk like light up a candle flame and then he hit a punch and stopped like 1.5 foot like from the candle flame and it like literally went out.
El monje dijo que ahora le iba a enseñar cómo darle un puñetazo y le dio una enhorabuena por el puñetazo que había dado.
Kevin, espera, repítelo, es que he dicho que ya como que ya ha dado el puñetazo, el monje.
Claro, y no, el monje todavía no ha dado el puñetazo.
Ah, bueno, les he dicho ya eso.
No, Kevin ha dado el golpe y ha parado a un pie de la vela, a un pie de la vela. Kevin.
Okay, sorry. Like Kevin, like hit a punch and he stopped like 1 foot far from the 1 foot, I think, 1 feet. I don't know,
un pie.
1 feet. Okay, 1
feet.
Quoting
it so funny.
Y luego el monje.
Is he reading it out from the audio somewhere? It's perfect.
Yeah.
El monje le iba a decir, o se le iba a demostrar cómo daba él un puñetazo.
And now the Shaolin monk was gonna show how one hit was punched.
Y Kevin pensó que no iba a ser mejor que el suyo.
And Kevin thought that his one was not better than his one.
Y el monje se paró enfrente de la vela, miró a Kevin, sonrió y paró. Kevin paró a una pulgada y el monje paró a un pie, y dio un perfecto puñetazo parando a un pie y apagó la vela. Pero sonrió primero y le miró.
Vale, so then now the Shaolin monk smiled to Kevin and then he like hit his punch like 1.5 foot far from the candle flame and it went out.
Entonces Kevin dijo, yo quiero aprender a hacer eso. y el monje le dijo que era lo que estaba tratando de decirle desde el principio.
And then Kevin was saying like, okay, I want to learn how you did that. And the monk replied back, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. ¿No?
Y ahí le enseñó que en el templo decían que no le tenían miedo a aquel guerrero que había dado 10.000 golpes diferentes una sola vez, sino que le tenían miedo a aquel guerrero que había dado 10.000 golpes únicos, o sea, 10.000 golpes con un solo movimiento.
And that's when the Shaolin monk explained to Kevin like that quote of, I'm not afraid of the guy who has hit like 10,000 punches once, no? It's one punch 10,000 times.
Y eso, y Kevin termina diciendo, ya por último, que esos son principios de las sociedades, porque el secreto está en dominar lo básico.
And then finally, Kevin says that is the secret of the societies, that is to master like the basics, like one punch 10,000 times.
Oh, I didn't miss anything. Brilliant.
Yeah, he covered the whole story.
That was
Exactly.
excellent.
Move on.
It was tough.
Nice, Oscar.
Can I just add something just in case I forget? I watched a documentary on the Shaolin monks. It's on YouTube. It's really, really good. And where they trained, where they've learned all the basics.
Yeah.
There's a famous room, like a stone room, where they train on. And say the room is 100 foot square or something. There was little curves in where they used to train because they were doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. The basics, and it actually eroded these stones for 500 years. Well, obviously stone, isn't it? But it was like that where they trained.
Wow.
And I thought, you know, everything refers back to Kevin, and it's a really fascinating. And when they'd done something wrong, they had to do a squat on these two poles for 2 minutes, and they said, yeah, but I need to run up that mountain. And they said, no, you're getting your legs trained first, then you can run up the mountain. I was like, oh.
Wow.
It's good. I recommend it. It's cool.
Yeah. It's on YouTube, did you say, Jamie?
I think it's on YouTube. There's this guy, I think he was a businessman, and he got in, he's American, and then he has to shave his head, and then he's got this little kid who's 5 years old, outrunning him, out squatting him, because he's got all the basics. He's got a head start because he's young.
Yeah.
And it's the same as learning this material. You've got an advantage if you're young learning it, if you're stupid learning it. And yeah, it's really good. And everything Kevin again said was on the tips, where you couldn't just turn up and learn all the moves and go home.
Yeah.
It's 5 or 10 years of getting your muscles correct, of and Kevin says about stretching as well, doesn't he? What he says about stretching to the floor, and if everyone's saying, oh, you must be stiff, he said, no. So why are you stretching? He said, well, in case so I don't get stiff.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. And they're stretching all the time. They're stretching to the floor, and the simple stuff that none of us would probably do, but they do it all the time. Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah, we'll definitely watch that. That sounds really amazing.
Thanks for sharing, Jamie. That will benefit our audience greatly.
Yes.
A lot of people. So then,
oh my God, it's 20 past 6. I can't believe it. How quick that's gone.
Wow, that's
really quick.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It's the best.
Yes. So what are the two main points, the two main principles from this Shaolin monk story? What is the whole point? What was the main teaching?
What was the main meaning behind the story?
Master the basics, was it?
Master the basics.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, definitely master the basics. And then the saying, which was,
punch is not a punch, it's a punch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Punch is not a punch, it is a punch.
It's a punch. There's a big difference.
Master the basics. Yeah, there's a big difference.
There's a big difference. And it's the same, I'll just add a little boring subject on for you all. With snooker, you've got to get your cue action straight. Because if your cue action isn't straight, and you start off here wrong, you'll do that for 20 years. So you've got to start off straight, and you just do the same thing over and over and over, and you never stop learning hitting the ball straight.
Yeah.
Also,
nice, yeah.
how Kevin tells the story. He tells it in a specific way, where it's also funny to see that his arrogance back then. Yeah, I know this punch and that punch, and what do you want to show you? I can do it. And that's how we might be as well. You know, I already know it, I can do it. And it's also a very subtle thing that I picked up on now.
Yeah.
With I just to add on, because of my niche with snooker, I was playing really badly, and I went to see a coach, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "This, and this," and he said, "Okay, let me see you play for 5 minutes." And the very first thing you learn when you start playing snooker is hit the middle of the white ball, because if you don't hit the middle of the white ball, the ball's going to go in a different direction. And he said, "You're not hitting the middle of the white." I'm a professional snooker player. Yes, I am hitting the middle of the white. He said, "You're not hitting the middle of the white." I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, and I was like, "I'm teachable you, I'm teachable you, I'm teachable you." And he took a photo behind me, and I was that much off, which is a lot in snooker.
Oh,
Oh my God. Yeah. I know all this stuff.
yes, I know it.
I know it. Spending too much time on the basics.
Yes. And you know, when he says a punch is not a punch, it is a punch. So anyone would think a punch is just a punch, yes, but actually it's so much more. So even with the basic concepts, you think it's just, oh, okay, I know this, willingness to learn, you know, you know it, you can say it off by heart, but actually there's so much more to it than it looks like on paper if we were just to read it out, you know, intellectually, yeah. So intellectually it seems simple, but actually there's so much more to it, you know. So a punch is not a punch, it is a punch, is just demonstrating how important these basic, and he calls them basic concepts because they sound basic, but it really goes deep. The depth of it is
just to experience these basic concepts, you know.
Yes.
You take it to another level, because you now you're embodying it, you're actually becoming the material, you're feeling the material, you're not just reading it, regurgitating it, reciting it intellectually. It's become a part of you. So I know what Kevin means by that. You know, you're being this material. It just takes it to another level. So like my next question was, you know, what does Kevin Trudeau say to be the biggest secret in these societies?
or the biggest secret.
The biggest secret.
It's mastering the basics.
That they're like very simple things, no? Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain, no? Like
Yeah, that there's not a lot.
that's the biggest secret, no? That there are only four basics.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yes.
That everybody thinks that they're all these
Yeah.
secrets, no? That's
Loads
why
of
they
stuff,
think
yeah, but
Yeah.
they cannot.
And they don't even think. Then you're making people not think, aren't you, by doing that? Because people say, "Oh, I can't learn all that."
Yeah.
Even if I asked my nan, not when she was alive, if I could ask her to play a new game, so no, I tried that once, I can't do that. Well, you can't.
Germán, ¿qué estáis diciendo? Que uno de los grandes secretos de las sociedades es que no hay grandes secretos, ¿no?
Sí, eso. Exacto.
Okay.
Hey, Oscar is learning English now, eh?
Yes.
He's getting now the stuff.
Yeah. Good.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's only a few
Muy bueno, macho.
secrets, right? So there's only a few secrets, but the key is to master those basic concepts, master those very few fundamentals, you know. And so it goes back to the punch. It's not a punch, it is a punch. So there's a big difference, because, you know, it's just so much more than just a punch. Just like it's so much more than just the four basic concepts, which is what
even now you saying it, this moment I'm thinking, yeah, it is just a punch. I'm trying to think, it's a never-ending learning. You're saying, because you're always practicing the punch.
Yes, you get to a level that nobody else can imagine,
right?
Because you know, just if you're going back to the Shaolin monk story, when he did the punch, the chi energy physically left his body, and half from the candle flame, it went out. So he mastered the punch to such a level that physical energy left his body to make the flame go out.
I listened to that.
Physically, right? So if you really can get this,
the power. Yeah.
One time I listened to that part where you just said, and it was at 5 o'clock in the morning because I had it on all night, and I listened to it with they were synchronized, and he said it, and I woke up. I was like, no. I'd listened to it 100 times, and I was like, that's not possible, but it is. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
See that.
Didn't even touch it. Amazing.
No. So next question is, what is the perfect good attitude to have? What kind of questions should you be asking to yourself and to others to show that you're still focusing on mastering the basics?
question.
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, please.
What is the kind of attitude that you should have to show that you're still focusing on mastering the basics? What's the kind of questions you can be asking yourself?
Ser un
You
eterno,
don't know?
ser un eterno aprendiz.
Oscar is saying to be a all-time learner or student.
Student.
Yeah. So when
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, so when you say, just teach me more about teachability index, teach me more
Yeah.
about getting route scale. When he says that, just teach me more. So he knows that he doesn't know it all and he's still learning.
Nice one, Oscar.
Yeah, you got it.
We have to give recognition.
Yes,
Recognition, yeah.
Well
Very
done.
important.
Well done. So Kevin says, shares a story that he went to one of his mentors' house in the private jet. He went to Barbados to his $35 million mansion, and he was in the presence of his guru and teacher. And he did very little talking and more observing, more listening, more asking questions. So what's the saying, what's that powerful saying to describe Kevin's understanding and attitude when you're in the presence of a guru and teacher?
That's a good one.
I know it. I know it.
I know
Do
it.
you know it though, Mario? Do you know it?
Yeah, but you.
Go on, Mario. Go on.
Go on, Mario, go on.
But gave you two ears and one mouth. Use them proportionately.
That's it. Ding, ding, ding. Gold star. Mario got it right. So Kevin Trudeau asked his teacher this question. He asked, at what point can you say that you really got the basics? Can you stop learning the basics?
More.
What was the brilliant answer that his teacher gave him?
When you just want to learn
Just a little more.
A little more.
And you love the idea of being teach.
And you're actually getting a chemical rush.
Yes,
You do, don't you? You do get a chemical rush.
that's it. I was going to
Because
ask.
you feed in that neural pathway in your brain and it's wanting more.
Yeah.
La pregunta, Oscar, es que hasta qué punto puedes dejar de aprender los básicos, ¿no? Esa parte, ¿no?
Pues no, nunca dejas de aprender, pero cuando ya no necesitas aprender, o sea, cuando ya no necesitas aprender, no quieres dejar de aprender.
Claro, yeah. Yeah, when you absolutely love like the basics, you don't need to learn them anymore.
Yeah, you love it so much, you get this chemical rush over your biological body. And I was going to ask you guys, has any of you experienced this? Has there any of you experienced where you're engaged in the material and learning and focusing on the basics so much that you get this chemical rush experience?
Many times.
Oscar, ¿lo has entendido? ¿Alguna vez has experimentado el chemical rush de que estás adicto a los básicos? That's the question.
Claro, todos los días.
Every day.
I don't get it every day. I get it very regular, maybe once, twice a week. But when I really sit down and write what Kevin's saying and really get it, because sometimes your teachability index isn't there for whatever reason. But I'd say probably once or twice a week when I'm reading a book or I see something in Think and Grow Rich or Pocket Full of Money, which I'm enjoying. And you do get a chemical rush. I remember to take sunglasses. I twice a week, I'd say, three times a week. But sometimes for whatever reason, your teachability index is low, so you got to just up it a little bit. Don't go from, as he says, depressed to bliss. You got to can't leapfrog. You got to slowly go up.
Yes,
Lots of times I've been writing down and I just feel it's amazing. Some of the things you can feel, especially when reading books. That's the best.
Yeah, really powerful.
yes, definitely. So the next thing he talks about again, teachability index, and he goes again, why is it so hard, for people to have a willingness to accept change? So this is about neural pathways and everything. So what else did he say about this? Because he said something about
the neural pathways are really, really strong.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to, when you've done the same thing for so long over and over and over again, it's very difficult to change it.
Yeah, we keep snapping back to the old neural pathways. It craves the attention, you know, and when we're trying to establish new smaller neural pathways, but the negative neural pathways are so large and grooved and embedded in the brain that it just
You have grooved these neural pathways in your brain.
well established neural pathways. So,
So good. I'm constantly thinking the same thing over and over. You've done it since you were done it since you were a kid.
Yeah, that's it. And it's hard. I think it's harder when you get older. You've got more and more of these neural pathways. You know, when you're younger, it's easier to change, and when you're older, I think Dr. Joe said, it sounded quite depressing, but he said by the time you get to 35, you've already developed so many like sets of like habits, you know, and attitudes and beliefs. And so it becomes more difficult, challenging to change, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean that, because with neuroplasticity, we know that you can change. But it just means that it's not as easy as when you were much younger, you know.
A recognition thing, I think, without us guys, I think that's what makes us incredibly special, because we are getting older and older, but we're getting more and more teachable. And the 90-year-old person that's got £100 billion is the most teachable.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but it's amazing that the older and older you get, and even your friends or people or family or people in the coffee shop or the pub or whatever, they're all completely unteachable. Completely unteachable. And yeah, it's crazy really how that happens, because yeah.
And when you keep practicing at the conscious competence level, you know, like we mentioned earlier, you will start building those neural pathways, and they'll get stronger and stronger, so they will dominate, and the other ones will be weaker. And in fact, actually, now neuroscience shows in real time, they've shown how actually neural pathways, neurons can actually prune apart. Those pathways actually prune apart, so they don't stay together. They can actually prune apart, and it shows where the glue that sticks the neural pathways to the neurons, the glue starts to loosen up, and you actually disconnect. So yes, so it's not just that the new positive neural pathways become stronger and the other ones become weaker. The other weaker ones actually can prune apart.
So what Trudeau is essentially doing as well is breaking down our old neural pathways, starting from the foundation, and you can build up. We're probably not even off the mark, but it's creating stronger and stronger. By reading the books, it creates the neural pathway stronger and stronger, and then you start attracting more things, and your belief goes up, and your intensity and duration goes up, because you know the material works.
Yes, and as you start thinking differently, you also start feeling differently. So the electromagnetic signature around you, what you're vibrating, what you're sending out, and what you're attracting changes as well. So you start attracting new events, situations, circumstances, events to you. And the other thing is with Hebb's law, so this is a bit of neuroscience again, Hebbian law says nerve cells that fire together wire together, but also the opposite is true as well, that nerve cells that no longer fire together no longer wire together.
Is that Hebbian law? Hebbian?
So Hebbian.
Yeah.
Or Hebb's law, yeah, Hebbian law.
And even if you study, like if I go and have a look at that now, it'll increase my belief level as well. So
yeah, I mean, definitely with the science, when I started studying more of the neuroscience behind change, it increased my level, because that was kind of my mind, how it works. I've got a bit of more of a scientific.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, so it really helps when you understand it's not just somebody just saying this. Of course, it's Kevin Trudeau saying it, but with the neuroscience part, it fills in the missing gaps. And, you know, neuroscience is far more advanced now than it was maybe 10 or even 20 years ago. So it's becoming more and more believable for those who didn't believe before, because there's science behind it.
Yes, exactly. So Katie emphasizes how we have to focus on the 4 basic concepts, the fundamentals, mastering the basics. Now, Kevin Trudeau had a bit of an advantage being in the Brotherhood, the secret
young and stupid.
Because
he says it, didn't he? I was a young, stupid kid.
Yeah. Because the fact that he had an advantage is because, you know, he was held accountable. So when he went to the secret society, like when he went into the Brotherhood, it's like, even if they sensed that his teachability index was low, they said, you're not going to qualify and get to the next level, right?
And they'll give you another book, what you're struggling on. They would, his masters would give Kevin, if he's struggling on who do you listen to, or training balance skill, or the 4 concepts, and then they would give him a book to help him what he's struggling on.
Yeah, so they're constantly helping him. So obviously he then asks, so what are the 4 basic concepts again, and how do you learn this information again?
I told you. I did it again.
And what was the answer?
I'm not saying this one. I'm so sorry. I got 3 minutes. I don't think I've broken agreement to my family. A barbecue. I promised them.
Oh,
no.
sorry.
Oh.
I know. I want to stay for about 10 hours.
We've almost, Jamie. Luckily, we've almost finished. So
Cool.
Finish if you have to go. Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't understand the question, to be honest. Can you repeat?
Yeah, so how do you learn this information again? How do you master, like, what are the 4 basic concepts, and how do you learn this information again? What's the easiest thing?
By doing it repeatedly on the conscious competence level and observing other people who do it.
That's it, yeah.
Have you one?
Yeah, some methods is, listening to Kevin Trudeau's CDs over and over and over again. And also going through his recommended books, the reading list that he's gone through, just reading those books. So that's it. That summarizes the end of CD3. So stay tuned for the next session, guys, where we'll be discussing and going through CD4 of Your Wish is Your Command, which is where he talks more about the law of attraction and how powerful you are in creating your reality and
I can't wait for that.
Desire. So thank you all for attending this engaging, powerful mastermind session. And we
will
leave
see you in the next
by
session.
saying, may you never be the same again.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, everyone. That was absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Bye. Thank
Thank you, everybody.
Cool.
Bye. Thank you.